You are looking at a kitchen infested with German cockroaches. The homeowner has already tried diatomaceous earth, store-bought sprays, every internet remedy you have seen. Nothing worked. But what you are about to watch eliminates 98% of them in a single hour, using a tool you already own, and 2 chemicals. The roaches cannot taste, cannot smell, and cannot resist. And the second ingredient stops every egg capsule in this room from ever hatching again. 1 treatment, 3 steps, total colony collapse. This is the system the pest control industry does not want you to find. The man behind this system is a pest control professional named Jason Akers. He has seen 16 years of failed home remedies, and he knows exactly why every single one of them makes the problem worse. German cockroaches breed faster than any other pest inside your home, and the sprays you are using are actually pushing the egg capsules deeper into your walls. The real solution breaks every rule you have heard, and it begins with the loudest tool in your garage. The kitchen Jason stepped into that morning belonged to a family who had tried everything. Diatomaceous earth lined every baseboard like a white chalk graveyard. Store-bought foggers had been set off twice. The sticky traps under the sink were black with bodies, and somehow the problem was worse than when they started. German cockroaches scattered across the countertops in broad daylight. That detail alone told Jason everything he needed to know. Daylight activity. That means the colony is so overcrowded that the weakest members are being pushed out of the harborage. It is the cockroach equivalent of a neon sign that says you have already lost the first battle. A single female German cockroach carries an egg capsule called an oothecae. Inside that capsule are 30 to 40 developing nymphs. That capsule is coated in a waxy substance that makes it nearly impervious to every over-the-counter spray on the market. You can douse it in poison and the embryos inside will still hatch 2 weeks later. The sprays kill the adults you can see and leave the next generation completely untouched. Worse, the repellent chemicals actually scatter the colony. Pregnant females flee deeper into the walls, spreading the infestation to rooms that were clean before you opened that bottle. This is why the homeowner was losing. She was not fighting one infestation. She was triggering a survival response that multiplied her problem every time she treated it. Jason opened the cabinet beneath the kitchen sink. The hinges moved, and a wave of roaches poured out like water. He did not flinch. He did not reach for a chemical. He walked back to his truck and returned with the one tool that every professional knows works and almost no homeowner believes will: a shop vac. And that is where the 98% begins. Jason pulled the refrigerator away from the wall. What sat behind it was not a floor. It was a living carpet. Thousands of German cockroaches. Generations stacked on top of generations. So thick you could not see the tile beneath them. He did not spray a single drop of chemical. He plugged in the shop vac, fitted a hose with a narrow crevice tool, and started feeding the colony into the canister. The sound was unmistakable, a continuous rattle of exoskeletons hitting plastic. Within 30 seconds, the vacuum bag was visibly bulging. Within 5 minutes, the floor behind the refrigerator was bare. He repeated the process inside every cabinet, under the dishwasher, along the plumbing penetrations where the wall met the pipes. Roaches that had never seen daylight in their lives were sucked out of gaps no spray could ever reach. He pulled out drawers and found egg capsules glued to the wooden runners. Each capsule, each oothecae, holding up to 40 developing nymphs. He vacuumed those too, every single one. Here is what most people do not understand. A female German cockroach does not drop her egg capsule randomly. She carries it attached to her abdomen until roughly 24 hours before the eggs are ready to hatch. She deposits it in a protected crack, glues it in place with her own saliva, and leaves it to incubate. When you spray a repellent insecticide across the kitchen, you kill the adult females you can reach, but you miss the capsules already sealed into crevices. 2 weeks later, 30 to 40 nymphs emerge from each one, and the infestation resets. The only way to remove those capsules is to physically pull them out of the wall. A vacuum does that. A spray cannot. Jason estimates that the shop vac step alone eliminated 98% of the visible roaches in under an hour. The kitchen went from crawling to quiet. The family watched from the doorway. The homeowner started crying. But here is the thing. If he had stopped there, if he had packed up the vac and driven away, the infestation would have returned in 3 to 4 weeks. Guaranteed, because no vacuum reaches every roach. A handful of females inevitably survive inside wall voids, behind electrical outlets, deep inside the refrigerator motor housing, and a single female German cockroach can produce over 300 offspring in her lifetime. Rebound is not a risk. It is a certainty. Physical removal is the fastest way to crash a population, but it has zero residual. It offers no protection for tomorrow. The roaches that escaped the vacuum are still breeding, still eating, still laying egg capsules inside the walls. This is where most homeowners pivot to a bait gel. They buy a syringe of gel from the hardware store, dot it around the kitchen, and wait. And for a while, it seems to work. The problem is that over the last 3 decades, German cockroaches have developed something the industry calls glucose aversion. The neurons in their brains literally rewired to make glucose taste bitter. Most retail bait gels are sweetened with glucose. The roaches walk up, taste the bait, and recoil. They starve before they eat it. So the bait sits there untouched while the colony keeps growing. Jason skipped the bait entirely. He went straight to a chemical that does not need the roach to eat anything. A chemical the roach cannot taste, cannot smell, and cannot avoid. It is called Alpine WSG, and it belongs to a class of insecticides that changed the entire game. Alpine WSG is a water-soluble granule. Its active ingredient is dinotefuran, a non-repellent neurotoxin. The word non-repellent is everything. Traditional sprays, the kind you buy at the supermarket, are repellents. Roaches detect them, panic, and scatter. The spray pushes the colony into new hiding spots. It fragments a contained problem into a whole house infestation. But a non-repellent is invisible to the insect. It walks across the treated surface, picks up a lethal dose on its body and legs, and has no idea anything is wrong. Then it returns to the harborage, grooms itself, and transfers the chemical to every other roach in the nest. It is not a poison, it is a delivery system. Every roach becomes a courier for its own destruction. Jason mixed Alpine WSG at the labeled rate of 30 grams per gallon of water in a pump sprayer. He treated every crack, every crevice, every hot spot where roach activity had been observed, along the baseboards, inside the dishwasher access panel, inside the void behind the range. The liquid dried clear and odorless. Within hours, roaches began crossing the treated zone, absorbing the dinotefuran through their feet. They did not die on contact. They died later, deep inside the walls, where no homeowner would ever see them. And because they died in the harborage, their bodies became a food source for the next wave of roaches, who then also ingested the active ingredient. One application, one colony-wide chain reaction, up to 60 days of residual activity. But Jason did something else that day. He added a second product to the sprayer tank, and this product does not kill a single roach. It does something far more devastating. The second product is something called an insect growth regulator. Tekko Pro is the brand name, but the active ingredient belongs to a class of chemicals that does not poison a single adult roach. It sterilizes them. It hijacks their development at the hormonal level so that the next generation never reaches adulthood. It is not a kill shot. It is a population extinction switch. There are two types of insect growth regulators: chitin synthesis inhibitors and juvenile hormone analogs. A chitin synthesis inhibitor prevents the roach from forming its exoskeleton during a molt. The nymph tries to shed its old skin and simply cannot. It dies trapped inside its own body, folded in half, stillborn at the threshold of its next stage. A juvenile hormone analog does the opposite. It floods the insect with a hormone that keeps it locked in adolescence forever. The roach grows and grows but never develops reproductive organs. It becomes a sterile adult that cannot lay eggs, cannot mate, cannot continue the colony. Both types accomplish the same thing. The bloodline ends. Here is the detail that changes everything. There is no known resistance to insect growth regulators in German cockroach populations anywhere in the world. None. Unlike pyrethroids, unlike bait gels, unlike every other class of chemistry we have thrown at this insect for 50 years. The IGR works on the one thing the roach cannot evolve fast enough to protect: its own developmental biology. A roach can learn to taste glucose as bitter. It can develop thicker cuticle to resist contact poisons. It cannot restructure its entire endocrine system. That would take millions of years. We are killing them in 100 days. Jason poured the Tekko Pro concentrate directly into the same pump sprayer tank that already held the Alpine mixture. He capped it, shook it, and continued the application. Every surface that received the non-repellent neurotoxin now also received a hormone disruptor. Any roach that crossed the treated zone picked up both chemicals on contact. The dinotefuran killed it within 48 hours. If it laid eggs before dying, those eggs would encounter the IGR residue when they hatched. The nymphs would attempt to molt and fail, or they would molt successfully but never mature into breeding adults. Either way, no new egg capsules, no rebound, no third wave. And this is the part that nobody tells you. It is not enough to kill the roaches you can see. You have to kill the ones that have not been born yet. A female German cockroach produces 5 to 8 egg capsules in her lifetime, each containing 30 to 40 eggs. That is up to 320 potential offspring from a single female. Over-the-counter sprays eliminate the female, but leave her last capsule intact, glued behind a baseboard, incubating. When those nymphs emerge 14 days later, the insecticide you sprayed is already degraded to a sublethal dose. They walk through it, survive, and the infestation restarts with a generation that now has slightly higher tolerance to the chemical you used. You have bred resistance into your own kitchen. The IGR stops that cold. Even if the nymphs survive the neurotoxin, they cannot reproduce. The lineage terminates. The kitchen becomes a dead end. Jason finished treating the entire kitchen. Baseboards, cracks, crevices, plumbing penetrations, underneath the sink, behind the stove, inside the dishwasher. He placed the product label on his clipboard, documented the application rate, and told the homeowner what to expect. For the first 48 hours, she might see more activity, not less. The non-repellent insecticide flushes roaches out of hiding before it kills them. Do not panic when you see them crawling in daylight. That is the chemical working. That is the colony dying. She nodded. She had already panicked for 6 months. She could wait 2 more days. 2 days later, the homeowner called Jason. She was not relieved. She was terrified. The kitchen floor was littered with dead and dying roaches. They had poured out of the walls, out of the cabinets, out of crevices she did not know existed. Some were twitching on their backs. Some were dragging their hind legs. Some were perfectly still. She had never seen so many roaches in her life. She thought the treatment had failed. Jason told her to wait. He told her what she was seeing was not failure. It was the colony in its final hours. The Alpine had flushed every roach out of hiding before shutting down their nervous systems. The ones that did not die on the floor had died inside the walls. And the ones that would hatch from the remaining egg capsules were already doomed. The IGR was waiting for them. 1 week later, the kitchen was silent. No roaches in the sink, no droppings in the silverware drawer, no egg capsules glued to the hinges of the cabinets. The sticky traps she had placed behind the refrigerator on Jason's instruction remained clean. White squares of nothing. 2 weeks later, she stopped checking the traps. 3 weeks later, she forgot where she had stored the can of Raid. A month later, she cooked dinner in her kitchen without flinching when she opened a cabinet door. The infestation was gone. Not managed, not suppressed, not reduced to an acceptable level. Eliminated. Colony collapse across all life stages, from the oldest adult female to the eggs that had not yet hatched on the day Jason first plugged in his shop vac. Here is the math that makes this system work. Step 1, the shop vac, physical removal of adults, nymphs, and egg capsules. Immediate population crash. Step 2, Alpine WSG, a non-repellent neurotoxin that the survivors carry back into the harborage, killing the roaches the vacuum missed. Residual protection for up to 60 days. Step 3, the insect growth regulator. Hormonal disruption that sterilizes the survivors and prevents the next generation from ever reaching reproductive maturity. No eggs, no nymphs, no rebound. 3 tools, 3 mechanisms, 1 outcome. And here is the detail that every pest control company knows, and most will never tell you. The reason this system is not the standard first line of defense is not because it does not work. It is because it works too well. A single treatment, properly executed, eliminates the need for monthly service contracts. No recurring spray visits, no quarterly bait replacements, no maintenance plan that charges your credit card in perpetuity. The shop vac costs $60 at a hardware store. Alpine WSG costs less than a dinner for 2 and treats an entire house. A bottle of IGR concentrate costs $40 and lasts for years. The knowledge of how to combine them is free, and the pest control industry is built on the assumption that you will never learn it. Jason did not invent this system. He learned it from older technicians who learned it from entomologists who published the research decades ago. Integrated pest management, combining physical, chemical, and biological controls, has been the gold standard in agricultural science since the 1970s. It only reaches residential kitchens when someone bothers to translate it. Jason bothered. Now, you have seen the 3 steps. You have seen the results. In a moment, I am going to give you the exact product names, the exact mix rates, and the exact mix rates, and the exact order of operations so that you can do this yourself. No license required, no professional equipment, no dependency on a company that profits from your continued infestation. This is the system. And here is exactly what you need. You now know the 3 tools that erase a German cockroach infestation in one coordinated strike. A shop vac to physically remove the visible colony, a non-repellent insecticide the roaches cannot detect, so they carry it into the nest, and an insect growth regulator that guarantees no egg capsule ever produces a breeding adult. This is not a secret formula. It is published entomology dressed in a pump sprayer. The reason it feels like a secret is that the industry built around your repeat business has no incentive to hand you the cure. If this video made something click for you, if you finally understand why the sprays you bought last year failed and why this system works, then there is something special waiting for you through the link in the first pinned comment. I have put together the exact product list, the mix ratios, and the step-by-step application guide, so you do not have to guess. Hit subscribe. Share this with someone who is still fighting an infestation with diatomaceous earth and hope, because the only thing that should be crawling in your kitchen is the memory that it used to.